Fishing Gurus is brought to you in association with Daiwa.
Hello and welcome to Fishing Gurus. My name's Dean Macey, and if I look like I've been dragged through a bush backwards, well, that's because in the last 36 hours my good friend Shaun Hodges and me have been down here on Johnson's Lake run by Godalming Angling Society targeting the tench. It's been possibly the worst sunny conditions you could ever hope for, a rise of 10 degrees over the last couple of days. It's been tough, but we definitely caught a few tench and there was a few good surprises along the way, so enjoy the show. Well, this is why I love spring so much, these little critters, the tench. Probably about £5. There's definitely much bigger in here. But Shaun, this sun's just come out. We had 5 each this morning. I've just moved round here, but like I said, this sun it's the first time it's shone like this for probably 7 weeks.
Yeah, Dean, it was really good first thing this morning. We actually say 5 or 6 each. They were one after another. As soon as you put the bait in, it went. And it's just gone a bit quiet now. I've just put some bait in and I've just seen a bit of bubbling over there, so I think we're still going to get a few in the day.
Well, there's always a chance if you've got a bait in the water. I haven't got any rods in the water at the moment, but with that I think we should take a quick look at the rigs that we're employing. Well, the classic tench rig would be a maggot feeder, but the fish in here do tend to prefer ground bait and a little bit of boilie over the top. So this is the rig I've come up with, and like I said, this morning I caught 5 just into first light, so it's definitely working. We've got some dark matter tubing, probably 10 inches, maybe 12 inches. You don't need too much of this, it sinks like an absolute brick. We've got a tiny little micro leg clip with a quick change clip on there as well. The leg clip, obviously the tail rubber pulls off, and so does the lead, just in case it dumps itself in weed, and I'm fishing just over the back of a weed bed. I've got a supernatural 18-pound hook link of about 4 inches long. You don't need it too long. It's quite a hard bottom out there, so you don't need too long a hook link. And there we go, a tiny little, very smelly stick with a little pellet tipped with a piece of corn on the end. And I've got a size 12 MWG on there. So hopefully that's going to do the business later on today. It did the business this morning, so we just need to do it for you guys now. Now, Shaun, you're the man with a track record on this place, and over the last couple of weeks you've been texting me some results and it's been phenomenal. You use a flat method. Why is that?
I like using fish field ground bait, mate, with little gem pellets, and I also like to feed the ground bait over the top.
Right.
So it just suits my style of fishing.
Right.
I load the feeder a bit different to most people.
Do you use this for speed?
I use it for speed, but I just think you get a quicker bite just by having the bait just outside the feeder.
So you don't bury the bait?
No, definitely not, mate.
Show us how you load it, because that's slightly different to our other gurus like Adam Rooney and Steve Ringer would do it, because they're recasting every sort of 1-2 minutes. You recast every 20 minutes?
20 to 30 minutes, yeah. And it's just a case filling the feeder up. Just, hold it there, mate. Put your finger on the braided hook length. You've got about an inch outside of the thing. Just hold that down like that. Give it a good firm press, because you want it breaking down on the cast. And
this is a sticky mix anyway, so it will hold together slightly longer than the sort of the quick breakdown mixes that the match guys use.
Yeah, it's got some extra crushed hemp in, mate, so it holds it together. I always like to give it one more squeeze like that.
Yeah.
And as you can see, just like that, and it really does cast a long way, and it does get you a quick bite.
A little bit of tubing just to protect the fish and keep everything nailed down behind the feeder?
Yeah, definitely, but also it obviously lays on the bottom of the bed better as well.
That's it. Right, well, it certainly worked. 4-pound crucians out of here last week, and 19 threes?
That's correct.
Up to 315?
Yeah, that was superb, mate.
We ain't after the golden bars this week, we're after the red-eyed monsters, so let's see if it does the business. Get it out there and get it wet. Well, Shaun, you have literally just showed the viewers a flat method, how to leave the pellet hanging out. You said you feel like it gives you quicker bites. You've cast that very same feeder out, and as you're putting the bobbin on, tell us what's happened.
Well, it's definitely, mate. I thought the line was actually, the wind was just tightening the line up. I couldn't believe it. And then the line just started to go left, and obviously fish on.
I thought you was trying to sink the line. It was going off at a weird angle, but I mean, we have prepared this swim for a couple of hours. We fished this morning, we had 5 each. I had them from over the other side, but we've fed the swim, we've kept putting a few spods over the top every now and again just to hopefully keep some fish interested. And Well, I've got to be honest, I was spodding, and I'm almost certain I said, you know, time spent preparing the swim is never wasted. Well,
no,
you know,
it's just unbelievable, mate. Yeah, that couldn't have been that.
And I did say also that you're the man with the track record on this place.
And it doesn't look too bad a fish.
No, it's not a bad fish. I mean, they're not massive stamps in here. It has produced some big fish in the past. I'm not sure whether they're still in here, but the fact of the matter is, everyone at this time of year is absolutely fantastic. The conditions are bad, and you have nailed it.
Excellent, mate. Well done.
Let's get it out and have a look.
First cast after baiting up. It's the middle of the day, it's red hot, but we've still had a bite on the method straight away.
Aside from the actual time of year, where you do tend to get 4 seasons in one day, and the species, because I do love a bit of tench anyway, and whatever I seem to be fishing for always seem to be my favourite species for some reason. I'm a little bit funny like that. But one of the reasons why I love the style of fishing for tench is that the more you ring the dinner bell, generally the more fish you catch. I think we're going to struggle today with the sun, but time spent preparing this swim with this mini Skyliner, which generally, I mean, look at that, it's probably a feeder load tops. Doesn't make a lot of disturbance. My spod mix is basically hemp, pellet and dead maggot, which tell me any fish don't like any of them. They love them all. And all I'm going to do is every sort of hour, 90 minutes, something like that, I'm going to recast my rods probably every 45 minutes to half an hour. But every 2 or 3 recasts, I'm going to stick 2 or 3 tiny little spods over the top, feather it down, literally just slaps onto the surface, deposits all that bait out there, and hopefully when the sun starts going down behind these beautiful trees this afternoon, we'll get stuck into them.
Still blazing hot, small male tench caught on the fish meal ground bait on the method with a few little gem pellets.
There's another bubbler there.
Yeah.
There's definitely a small group of fish there and a bigger group on the far bank, isn't there?
I think there's a couple off that bar as well out there.
We've got to do it.
Yes.
We've got to do it.
We've got to have a go, mate, and try and see if we can catch a carp.
Yeah, the train's coming past once again, but the fact of the matter is I think we come up with a plan, yeah?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
A couple of rods each.
It's slow where we are at the moment. I think we're probably going to leave the houses set up there because we had, you had 5 fish and the guy next to you had 5 fish this morning. So 10 fish came out of our actual swims that we're fishing now, early doors, and we're going to start early doors tench fishing again. But we've just come around on the end of this really, really nice warm wind, and they ain't tench, they're carp, but hey, when the fishing's slow where you are, you've got to try and get an opportunist bite, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to get a couple of rods each, we're going to swing them out, try and be as stealthy as possible, and get a bite, yeah?
Excellent.
Let's go, come on. Well, we've seen a couple of fish since we got back with the rods. I've got a tiny little PVA stick, just like what I showed you for the tench. The hook link is ever so slightly longer, and I've got a size 8 mixer hook on there, just in case, because I think there is a few carp in here. We've seen a few bubblers clouding up about 3 rod lengths out. I've already flicked a couple of half baits over their head, just to sort of get them used to something going in. I think they've just drifted off, so now's a perfect time to get a bait out. Not the perfect time to muck it up. Feel it down, very shallow. Right, and the most important thing here is to sink the line and get it out their way, because what we don't want to do is spook them off of the line before they get to the hook bait. So I'm going to fish. I haven't even brought my buzz bars around. I'm just going to lay the rods on the floor, fish a slack, clutch, and then hopefully in the not too distant future wait for it to rip off. This is the most excited I've been all day, let me tell you. Oh my God, it's a massive crucian. It's a massive crucian, get out of there. Oh, it's a massive crucian. Oh my God, oh my God. I don't believe it. I know Shaun had a couple of 4s last week, but that is absolutely massive. Shaun, come over here. Shaun, come and look at this, mate.
What have you caught, mate?
Look at the size of this.
Oops.
You're the man for 4-pounders, but look at that.
That's got to be near 4, hasn't it? That's huge, look at it. That's superb. Well done. Well done, mate.
We said we'd come around here for
What's
carp.
What's that?
That is the equivalent of a 50 or
well
even
done.
a 60. That is...
Well done.
Oh, mate.
Well done.
Oh, Right, you might have to go and get some scales.
Yes, I will do.
I'm in a bit of a tiz-waz.
All right, I'll go and get some scales, and we'll get a mat as well, and we'll sort it all out.
Oh, Christ.
Well done.
That is enormous. Shaun, I have been looking at this for about 5 minutes now, letting it rest in the net. I don't believe I can actually say that I've caught this fish.
It now looks bigger, mate.
Look at the size. Look at the size of it.
That is an ace.
It's as fat as a pig. Look, I can't get my hands around it, and I can get my hands around a 6 pound chub. I'm not saying this is 6 pound, by the way, because the British record is 4.9.
Let me just
and anything over 4 pound is beyond fisher dreams. It's amazing. So Shaun, you're zeroing the scales, mate.
Zeroed the scales.
Fish like this have got to be done properly.
Yeah, no,
I've got my money on 3.15. Shaun's got it on 3.14.
Well, just looked a bit bigger just then.
I love it when you say that, but I've got to be honest, a few people around have said...
I don't know, mate. I don't know. Not going to say.
This is the scores on the doors. You know what? I was less nervous when I got married.
You look, mate. You look.
I don't want to look. You tell me.
It is 3.11.
No.
Yes, 3.11.
Is it really?
Yes.
Well, that's a personal best.
Well done,
Either
mate.
or. I've got to be honest, everyone thought it was much bigger than that, but...
3.11? Agreed?
It's 3.11, 3.12. We'll go 3.11.
Yeah?
Yeah, 3.11. Yeah, that's it.
I've done the zeroing.
Can't argue with that.
Personal best, well done, mate.
That's a PB, mate.
I've
got to be honest. It's been a while since I've seen a big crucian. I thought
Superb
it was 4 pound,
fish.
but
it looks quite an old fish.
You
but
cannot
it's
moan at that. That is an amazing creature.
Yeah, superb.
That is an amazing creature. Look at that.
Well done.
Let me just hold it up. It's got an enormous frame. It's got an enormous belly. And look at that. Possibly one of the most graceful fish in the British Isles, and it graced my net today. It's been difficult today, mate, I've got to be honest. You had 2 fish during the middle of the day, but then it's all gone dead. We moved round here into this shallow bay where the wind's pushing in to see if we can catch a carp. We did catch a carp, but we caught a crucian carp, which we know swim around in here to over 4 pound. And for me to catch a 3 pound 11 ounce personal best is absolutely perfect, and there is no better way to finish this part 1.
Well done.
Absolutely magic, can't believe it.
Fishing Gurus is brought to you in association with Daiwa.
Well, good morning and welcome back. It's day 2 of our tench adventure. It is absolutely beautiful. This is what I love about the spring, but unfortunately we've woken up to quite a few carp just in the edge down to Shaun's left spawning, which doesn't bode well. The temperature's risen something silly over the last couple of days, and unfortunately it's going to make things very, very tricky again today. But like I said, it's silly o'clock, and I reckon we've got at least 90 minutes of a good chance of catching a fish. I had a couple of tench late knock-ins last night, and I had a carp, common carp, about 20 pound, not far off 20 pound if it wasn't. So I'm going to get this stick out very, very quickly and very, very accurately, get it over the bait, and hopefully catch us a few tench before the sun rises above the trees, because if it's anything like yesterday, I think it's going to be very, very tricky. But as they always say, when you've got a bait in the water, you've definitely got a chance.
4 minutes worth left. About 4 minutes in that, I think. Here we go, I think I'm in. Get in, get in, get in. Excellent. My first crucian of the trip, not quite as big as the one Dino had, but still just over 3 pound and in absolutely mint condition. I'm really made up with this fish. It's caught on a little pellet, coppered Dean with a bit of tip sweet corn.
That'll do. The water temperature has risen something stupid over the last couple of days, and everything in this lake, I would imagine, very, very soon, if they're not, are going to be spawning. And you know what? Everyone has their morals, and mine are that I don't like fishing for spawning fish. I think it's a stressful enough time as it is for them, and we want our sport to continue as long as possible. And you know what? When you get into 6, 7 pound tench, certainly 3 pound 11 crucians, they are very, very big and old fish. And this isn't a big old tench, it's a little one, but it's a little one that's going in the net. It's my first one today, and you know what? Come on! Shaun, take that, boy, take that! Well, first fish of the day, I'm underway. Got to be honest, couldn't be smaller, but at the same token, could it be a more perfect tench? I don't think so. Well, I've no sooner put my rods back out after having that wonderful little female tench, and this right hand rod is gone again. And I'll tell you something, one thing I've done ever so slightly different this morning, because I've been struggling. Shaun has been giving me a bit of a battering, to be honest, and I'm not too big a man and not too proud to admit it. But I've started tipping my baits with either a little yellow pop-up, just a nice little sliver, or little pieces of foam. In truth, anything that I can find in my tackle box or in my little pop-up tub. Always carry a little tub of pop-ups with me. You never know when a carp's going to bosh his head out and catch an opportunist fish, but it seems to have made a difference. I've literally cast 2 bags out, and both of these rods have gone within a space of sort of 15-20 minutes. And that was the rod that produced the first fish, and I've literally just recast that rod. And this one, I was just making a bag up to pull it back out again, and it's gone off. So, and the fish, they might not be big, but I'm on nice soft 1.5 pound rods, 8 pound drag line, and that might seem a little bit too much to a lot of you when you're fishing for fish on a straight pull up to sort of 5 or 6 pound. But the fact is, when you're recasting and hitting the clip constantly all the time for 48 hours, you need a bit of backbone in the line just so it can deal with the hustle and bustle. Oh, I can't see it, it's in the sunlight, but it feels like a slightly better fish. Come on. I think it is a slightly better fish. Finally I'm getting my act together.
I just literally thought I'd have one more cast, and as I cast, I was holding the line, a crucian rolled.
Did it? Right
over my bait, and I was just about to put the rod down in the rest.
And it's gone off?
It's gone off. So whether it's a crucian or not, I don't know.
I'll tell you what I have noticed. You said that you think the flat method buys you a few extra bites with regards to speed.
Yeah.
I think both methods that we've shown today definitely catch fish. But I think the flat method is slightly more effective when the action is like thick and fast, you know. As much as I've tied up 3 or 4 hook links and I've got loads of sticks made up in the bucket, you definitely, when you're sitting on your chair, seem to be slightly more effective and slightly more methodical than I am.
But it's another tench, and it's a bit bigger.
Yeah, that's why it's fighting quite hard. I think it's a male. Yeah, it's got the...
Yeah, it's 4 pound at least.
Oh, mate, that's a good male.
Yeah,
that's a good male.
It's a nice male. Get it.
There we go.
Well done.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, Shaun, it's been a hectic 90 minutes. You seem to be doing the business. I've winkled out a couple, but that is a lovely male tench. And while you was playing that, you mentioned that you saw a crucian roll over the top of it, and we actually ended up with both these fish in the same net. That's how quickly it went off.
It's superb, mate. Good end to the thing there. It's getting very hot, and 2 on it once, basically.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just proves with the little method feeders, you know, you can get an instant bite, which both these were.
Very impressive, mate. Beautiful fish. So, Shaun, hook baits. Everyone's got their own faults, but in your experience, what would you take if you was a punter going tench fishing across the length and breadth of the country?
Well, mate, well, in any type of fishing, you really want to take a selection of baits.
Absolutely.
Whether you've got your original bait, like your worm, or old classic sweet corn, something like that, you can't go wrong.
No, you can't go wrong with a bit of yellow on the end of anything, to be honest with you, really, isn't it?
That's classic bait, mate. Or if you want to get a bit more modern, you've got your pellets, which we've been using today, mate, and they're superb. These little pellets, covered in oil, Fish Pro liquid, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Or like you've got there, your mini boilies, things like that.
Yeah, that's interesting actually, because certainly last night and yesterday when we started getting some action before the cameras came here, you was almost matching the hatch with regards to fishing a single pellet, no bright colours on it whatsoever, on your flat method. And I was getting the same sort of reaction to my sticks, but when I started, of course that hook's just gone straight in my hand. When I started struggling today, I started tipping it off sort of almost carp fishing style.
Yeah.
And had 2 bites within the space of sort of 20 minutes. And I know that you took you took the same sort of suit, didn't you? And had a bit of action straight afterwards.
I've done very similar, just a smaller hook, size 16.
Yep.
You say one of these little pellets, and then just a tiny one of these tiny little bits of hair stop corn.
Yeah, that's it.
Covered in a sweetener.
So artificial corn, this is a little bit of foam. I mean, in truth, I never leave home without a selection of sort of, 10mm and 8mm pop-ups and stuff, because obviously they've got a little bit of a fruity scent, fruity flavour to them, just to tip them. One thing I would say, you mentioned the naturals, the worms and stuff, which I think sort of generally come into their own early season. This, guys, is my biggest tip that I can give anyone. Throughout the winter, 90% of people will be fishing maggot. Okay, and at the end of a session, when you've got a quarter of a pint, half a pint left, what do? We all throw it in the lake, or we just sling them in the bush or something like that. Well, this is what you should do. You should put them in a bag, take them home, don't tell the missus, put them in the freezer without her knowing, because they don't wriggle once they're frozen, and they certainly don't smell, okay? And save them up for sessions like this, because during the spring, for the tench, and during the autumn, for the bream, that is an absolutely killer rig. There's nothing that swims in British waters that will not eat dead maggot in either a PVA bag or a spod mix or anything like that. We've both been feeding them throughout our spods, our mini Skyliners over this session. We've been catching on pellet over the top, but I'm absolutely certain that, I mean, we got action sort of 8 o'clock this morning when the sun was really high, didn't we? And I didn't expect it, to be honest, and I'm certain that the dead maggot definitely brought us a couple of extra bites.
Yes, Dean, we definitely got a few extra bites by putting some maggots over the top in our mini spods. Bait trickling down onto where you're feeding, and you'd get a bite. It just brings them in again.
That's it. So 2 big tips. Don't throw your maggots away during the winter. Save them up for the spring tench fishing. And also, don't be afraid to tip your baits in a small sort of carp fishing rig, because, as you saw today, it brought us a couple of extra bites. Well, is there a better way to finish a 36-hour session with a good friend and with a brace of tench in our hands? Not the biggest we've ever caught, but tench all the same. Shaun, thank you so much for your time over the last couple of days. I've learnt loads, and I'm sure you have too. Don't forget to join me to the next episode of Fishing Gurus, and if you're getting out on the bank between now and then, remember, enjoy your fishing.
Fishing Gurus is brought to you in association with Daiwa.